Hello. We're going into November, so it's obviously time for another TBR Jar chooses my reads for the month video. It's early. Ugh. We have our TBR Jar, and obviously this here, as you will know if you've been here for a little bit of time, is my whole TBR, but I have done some damage recently. And I have more books down here. This is like my new stack. This is my newest books. Obviously, I lean towards these, so depending on what the TBR Jar gives us, maybe we will have a look at those. I can't remember how many I chose last month, but I think I read all but one. I did really well. I think it's my best month so far with actually sticking to my TBR, so go me. This month I think I'm going to choose 7. I don't really know what I'm in the mood to read. Actually, right now, I've just read The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I'm currently reading The Four Winds, and I kind of feel like reading literary fiction, general fiction, historical fiction. That's how I feel right now, but I'm also on like a huge fantasy high, but my current read isn't really giving that when it should, because it's a romantic series, but it's not. Shall we just jump right in with our first prompt? Let's go, because I am super excited. A book you've been putting off. Okay. Well, we definitely have Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid as an option, because why haven't I read this yet? I have absolutely no excuse because I've put it on 2 TBRs and still haven't got round to it. Yeah, this, as from what I've just said about like being in the mood to read things that are gonna rip my heart out, I should really be reading this like ASAP before that mood goes away. So this is definitely an option. I've also been meaning to start Mile High. I've been meaning to dive into the Windy City series, but at the same time I'm also really conscious of how many series I'm in the middle of, and I know everyone says that on BookTube, but specifically with fantasy series, like, you really don't want to get too ahead of yourself and then just forget everything about them, because I have done that before. So right now I'm really focusing on trying to finish series instead of starting new ones. So I don't know. I am gonna put this back. Is this gonna be the 3rd TBR video this year that I put this on my TBR? Yes, it is. For a book I've been putting off, we're going to be reading Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And if you don't know what this book is about, we have the first female astronauts that can go into space. And I believe we have a sort of sapphic love story. Doesn't that sound fun? And I think we get a little bit of like how they get to space and sort of like getting into the program and then also being up in space. That's what I understand. And you know, if this is gonna sapphic Armageddon me, I'm gonna be a shell of a woman. Maybe that's why I've been putting it off. Let's pick prompt number 2. This one feels chunky. Oh, that's quite negative, isn't it? This is a book you don't think you'll love. Do you know what? I have an idea. So this is just an option. It's just an idea. I am not committing to it just yet, but I have Unravel Me, which is the 2nd book in the Shatter Me series by Tahira Mafi. And I read the 1st book of this in like February, March, and I just have not had the urge to pick up the rest of the series. I thought Shatter Me was fun and I did enjoy it, but just wasn't obsessed, didn't feel gripped enough to just sort of like binge the series or anything like that. Plus, it's so hard when there's so many books coming out all the time that you just find, if you're anything like me, you just find it hard to stick to series when there's so many new releases. But I can't say I look at this and think, oh my god, 5 star. I think like 3.5. So I'm not obsessed with it so far. Not particularly convinced that I'm gonna love the series, so this is an option. Quite upsetting really. I would love to be picking from my new stack of books, but obviously I think I'm going to love every single one of those, so I haven't even looked down there. I'm really struggling to look at everything else and think, oh, I don't think I'm gonna love that, because I don't know enough about it. So I guess continuing a series that I'm not so far obsessed with is probably a really great way to go. So for a book that I don't think I'm gonna love, the 2nd book in our TBR, I'm gonna be picking Unravel Me, the 2nd book in the Shatter Me series. Someone convince me that this is worth reading, please. Let's get prompt number 3, a hardback. Okay, that really narrows things down. When I'm buying hardbacks, most of the time I am reading them immediately because they're new releases. So we do have one sort of like priority TBR hardback, and this is The Tarot Reader of Versailles. And I think, based on what I said at the start about my general fiction and historical fiction kick at the minute, this could be a really good idea. And I think it's absolutely stunning as well. I really want to read this. So on the back here, it just says 2 women, an extraordinary power, an explosive bond. I don't know too much about what this is about, but it just says it's the early days of the French Revolution in Paris. I believe one of our main characters is extraordinary with tarot cards and she can communicate with the dead. Funky. Oh, and then a second main character who can read people's pasts and their futures. Okay, yeah. Kind of giving magical realism with a little bit of a historical twist. Yeah, so this is definitely an option. The only other thing that I have, but I'm just absolutely not in the mood to read, I have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, and I'm just not in the mood for this. No, this is probably going to peak around springtime, so we're just going to put that back. In terms of other hardbacks on my shelf, they're all mystery thriller, and I just, no, I don't want to read them like I want to read this. So for a hardback book on my shelf, the third book in our TBR is going to be The Tarot Reader of Versailles. This is by Anya Bergen. Prompt number 4. I'm going right down to the bottom here. By the way, I made this jar. Well, I made it. I didn't. I obviously painted it, and it's wholesome and cutesy. A YA book. Oh, okay. In that case, I'm not looking at my romance. Down here, I don't think any of those are YA either. There's a couple of fantasy books, romantasy specifically. I hope I have this right. Like, at what point is it going to tell me that this is YA? I'm going to have to go on Goodreads, and I just don't feel like doing that. But I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. The first trilogy book that I have is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I have been meaning to get to the series for quite a while, but like I say, been focusing on things I'm already reading, but we definitely could pick up this. I have the second book as well, so even if I love this, I could, you know, just keep going, make way into the series to make myself feel more accomplished. But yeah, this is definitely YA because I know that Alchemy of Secrets, Stephanie Garber's newest released, is her adult debut. So this is an option. I also, really frustratingly, have The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith, and it still has the W.H. Smith sticker on, which I never do. So that's frustrating me. But I think this is YA. Yeah, it literally says if you're looking for the next YA sensation, here it is. Yeah, okay. So my understanding of this book is that it's quite... does it have trials in it? Competitions, yeah. Vicious competitions. So this is a little bit of a trial-y book, and I'm not sure if I'm in the mood to read a trial-y book right now. But that could be more compelling than the book that I'm currently reading, which doesn't have trials in it. So potential option. Also have Once Upon a Broken Heart, and to be honest, I actually just really don't know which one I want to pick. I think I'm gonna go with The Rose Bargain. I'm not sure if this is a summary read. I don't know if this is good for the season, but this is kind of what I feel like, so this is what we're going to pick. For a YA book on my TBR, we're going to pick The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. Okay, we're moving on to prompt number 5. God, I'm really digging. Okay, this says first book you own when you scroll the Friends feed on TikTok. Okay, I think I've opted out of this before, so I am actually just going to do it this time. Friends. I have already read the Book of Asriel. Come on, she's a 10, but okay. I don't have any of the books on here. I've read the Chestnut Spring series, but I don't own any of the other ones. So I'm just going to keep scrolling. My SD card became full, so that didn't work for me. But I've refreshed the feed. 10 before the end. Arkham Reddit, Brimstone, Wrath of the Fallen. Okay, so obviously on here we have Brimstone, which is the second book in, is it the Fae and the Alchemy series, which is following Quicksilver, and then The Wrath of the Fallen, which is the fourth book in the Gods and Monsters series. I support both of those books, so I think for this prompt I would have picked both. Yeah, I'm picking both. So the prompt said I was to scroll my friend's feed on TikTok and pick the first book that I came across that I owned, and we're doing two. We're going to pick Brimstone by Callie Hart and also The Wrath of the Fallen. Yes, that is so fun. Okay, we're on to prompt number 6, but book number 7. Typical of me, really. If this is something else to do with TikTok, it's going straight in the bin. Bought because of BookTube. So, similar vein, but not quite the same. Okay, you definitely could say this series. Collide, Unloved as well. The Ministry of Time. The Ministry of Time. Oh. Oh. Is it time? This is on, I believe, my 25 books that I want to read in 2025, and I've made some real good progress in that list actually, so I think this will feel extremely rewarding. It's going to give me that kick of general fiction that I need at the minute, with a little bit of romance, which we're not loving looking at this stack so far. So yeah, I think for a book I bought because of BookTube, I'm going to pick The Ministry of Time. Who's this by? Callie Bradley. And I specifically bought this book because, do you know, I actually saw Rachel Catherine read it the most recently, and that sort of like urged me to pick it up because she was obsessed with it. I've also seen that Sydney loves it, one of my girlies. So yeah, we're gonna pick this book next. My October TBR, the colour scheme was extremely different. We're on to our last prompt, is that right? Yeah. It's hard to stop doing these, I tell you. Oh, I just ripped it. Continue a series. Big sleigh. Huge sleigh. Yeah, again, I can't pick anything from my new stack, but I've already put Brimstone and The Wrath of the Fallen on there. Looking at my shelves, we have some options, and they would be Kindle options, I think, because we do have a couple of romance, but I'm not in the mood. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not in the mood for those. So we could pick Enchantra by Kaylee Smith because I have only read Phantasma, but that is on my series tracker, so that is also an option. We could pick A Bond So Fierce and Fragile, which is the third book in the Compelling Fate saga, which follows A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly. We could pick that. We could also pick Bloodmarked, which follows Legend Born, and I know that I would like to get to that one sooner or later because it's quite a complex magic system, and I'm already feel myself distancing myself from that book. Does that make sense? So definitely want to get to that soon. But in terms of what I want to read, sorry, I'm just looking at it up there. If I just think about it, Hannah, you don't need to look. Why don't you just think? I think I said they were going to be Kindle reads, which this probably will be a Kindle read because they're on Kindle Unlimited. I think I'm going to pick A Bond So Fierce and Fragile, and this book is the chunkiest in the series so far, must say. And I can't even look at it. I can't even read the blurb because it will spoil it for me because I'm currently reading the second book in the series. But I think this is stunning. They're indie published as well, so they're super heavy and they have a good flop, but like not sort of like super flexible. Anyway, you don't care. That's just something I'm obsessed with. For the final book in this video, to continue a series, we're going to be picking A Bond So Fierce and Fragile by Sophia St. Germain. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 books here, but we did pick 8, which tends to be a theme of mine. I say I'm going to pick 7 prompts and then I pick 8 books, or more than I was meaning to pick. But from this list, we are, of course, missing Brimstone and The Wrath of the Fallen. But just to recap what we picked, we have The Tarot Reader of Versailles by Anya Bergam. We have Atmosphere, again, by Taylor Jenkins Reid. We have A Bond So Fierce and Fragile by Sophia St. Germain. We have Unravel Me by Tahira Mafi. We have The Ministry of Time by Callie Bradley, and The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. God, I don't know how to feel about this stack. I feel like this is me getting to books that have been on my TBR for a really long time. instead of prioritizing like newer releases and books that I've bought more recently, because I don't think I've bought any of these super recently. Well, I have. I bought the Rose Bargain most recently, but still, like, not on the tip top of my TBR. So this is fun and exciting. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun. As per bloody usual, I say this in every single video. If you want to see me read any of these books in a vlog, please feel free to comment down below. Please let me know what you're excited to read in the month of November, and if you're just sticking to like really strict prioritizing your reads in terms of what you want to read before the end of the year. Because I'm not feeling like that right now, but I'm not feeling like that right this second, which might come back to bite me in like 2 weeks' time. But right now, just feeling cutesy, vibey, just reading with no pressure. That's the vibe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.